"I've never been touched," she said. The Mafia boss smirked and changed the rules. I should have stayed home that night, but my sister Gabriella was driving me insane with her overprotective lectures, and the villa walls were closing in like a coffin. So I slipped out into the rain-soaked streets of Naples, chasing nothing but the taste of freedom and the glow of neon reflecting off wet cobblestones. I didn't plan to end up behind Il Corvo Nero. I was following a stray cat. Stupid, I know. This scraggly orange thing that reminded me of the one I had as a child before everything went wrong. Before our parents died, and Gabby became both sister and warden. The alley reeked of garbage and something metallic I didn't want to identify. My white dress was soaked through, clinging to my skin like a second layer of vulnerability. I should have turned back. But the cat had disappeared into the shadows near a side door, and I'm nothing if not stubborn. That's when I heard it. The wet thud of knuckles meeting flesh, a groan, the scrape of a body being dragged, my breath caught. I pressed myself against the brick wall, heart hammering so loud I was sure whoever was in that alley could hear it. I peeked around the corner. 3 men, 2 holding a third between them, his face a pulp of blood and broken promises. And standing in front of them, cigarette smoke curling from his lips like a serpent, was the most beautiful monster I'd ever seen. Dario Santori. I knew who he was. Everyone in Naples knew. The rule breaker. The man who'd turned the Santori syndicate from a crumbling relic into an empire of fear and gold. 35 years of calculated violence wrapped in an Armani suit. He took a long drag from his cigarette, then ground it out on the beaten man's forehead. The scream that followed made my knees buckle. "You stole from me, Carmine," Dario said, his voice smooth as aged whiskey. "I don't like thieves." "Please, please, I'll pay it back." "You'll pay in other ways." He nodded to his men. I didn't wait to see what happened next. I turned to run and crashed straight into a wall of muscle. No, not a wall. A man. Massive, scarred, with eyes that had seen too much. His hand clamped around my arm like a vice. "Boss," he called out. "We got a witness." My world tilted. Dario's head turned slowly, and when those obsidian eyes found me, something shifted in the air. The rain seemed to pause. The darkness leaned in closer. He walked toward me with the grace of a predator who'd already won. "Well," he murmured, stopping just close enough that I could smell his cologne, bergamot and danger. "What do we have here?" I couldn't speak. My tongue was lead. Every survival instinct screamed at me to run, but the scarred giant, I'd later learn his name was Marco, held me firm. Dario reached out and tilted my chin up with one finger. The touch burned. "You're shaking, little flower." His lips curved into that infamous smirk. "Are you cold or terrified?" "Both," I whispered. He laughed. It was a dark velvet sound that slid down my spine and pooled somewhere low in my belly. "Honest, I like that." He studied my face like he was memorizing it. "What's your name?" "Ravenna." My voice came out smaller than I wanted. "Ravenna Fiore. I didn't see anything. I was just lying." He dropped his hand. "You saw everything, which means we have a problem." Terror spiked through me. "Please, I won't tell anyone. I swear on my life, your life." He tasted the words like wine. "Yes, let's talk about that." He circled me slowly, and I felt his gaze like hands on my skin. "You're not from this world," he observed. "Too clean. Too untouched." The word hit me like a slap. "I've never been touched," I blurted out, then immediately wanted to die. Why did I say that? What was wrong with me? Dario stopped circling. The smirk widened. "Never?" Not like that. I just meant..." I was babbling now, panic making me stupid. "I don't belong here. This isn't my world. I'm nobody. Please just let me go and I'll forget..." No. The single word was a verdict. He stepped closer. So close I could see flecks of gold in those black eyes. Here's what's going to happen, Ravenna Fiore. You're going to give me your phone. My hand trembled as I pulled it from my pocket. He took it, handed it to Marco. You're going to get in my car. We're going to have a conversation, and then I'm going to decide what to do with you. And if I refuse? The smirk became something colder. Then Marco will make sure you can't refuse. But I don't think you want that. Do you? I looked at Marco, at the bloody heap of carmine still groaning on the ground, at the rain-slicked alley that suddenly felt like a grave. No, I whispered. Good girl. He placed his hand on the small of my back, possessive, commanding, and guided me toward a black Mercedes idling at the alley's mouth. The touch seared through my wet dress. As Marco opened the door and I slid into leather seats that probably cost more than my entire wardrobe, one thought screamed through my mind. My life just ended. But when Dario slid in beside me, his thigh pressing against mine in the confined space, when he leaned close and whispered, "Don't be afraid, little flower. I'm going to change all the rules for you," I realized something worse. My life hadn't ended. It had just been sold to the devil. And God help me. Part of me wanted to see what he'd do with it. If you're already feeling the pull of Dario's world, if Ravenna's fate has you on the edge of your seat, hit that subscribe button. Because what happens next? It only gets darker, and you won't want to miss a single twisted second. The car smelled like leather and power. Dario didn't speak as we drove through Naples' rain-slick streets. He simply watched me with that unnerving intensity, like I was a puzzle he was 3 moves away from solving. I kept my eyes on my hands, tried to control my breathing. Failed. We stopped in front of a building that looked like it had been carved from midnight itself, all black glass and sharp angles, looming over the harbor like a crown of thorns. "Welcome to my home," Dario said, though it sounded more like a sentencing. Marco opened my door. I had no choice but to follow. The lobby was all marble and menace. Security guards in sharp suits nodded as Dario passed. A woman behind a desk averted her eyes. Everyone here knew their place in the food chain. I was about to learn mine. The elevator ride to the penthouse was suffocating. Dario stood too close, his presence swallowing all the oxygen. I could feel the heat radiating from him, could hear his steady breathing while mine came in shallow gasps. "Relax," he murmured. "I don't bite, unless you ask nicely." My face burned. The doors opened to a sprawling penthouse that looked like sin had been given an interior designer. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the Bay of Naples, the city lights glittering like scattered diamonds. Dark wood, darker leather, artwork that probably cost more than most people's houses. "Sit," Dario commanded, gesturing to a sofa that looked simultaneously inviting and threatening. I sat. He poured 2 glasses of something amber from a crystal decanter. "I don't drink," I said. "You do now." He handed me the glass. "It'll calm your nerves." I took a sip. Whiskey. It burned going down, but he was right. The warmth helped. Dario settled into the chair across from me, legs spread in casual dominance, and just stared. "So," he finally said, "Ravenna Fiore, 23, lives with your sister Gabriella in a villa on the city outskirts. Parents died in a car accident 7 years ago. You work part-time at a bookstore. You like poetry. You've never had a boyfriend." My blood turned to ice. "How do you—" "I know everything about everyone in my city." He swirled his whiskey. "But you? You're interesting. You don't belong to any family. You're not connected to my world at all. Which raises the question, why were you behind my club tonight?" "I told you. I was following a cat." "The truth, Ravenna." His voice dropped to something dangerous, something that made my survival instincts scream. "That is the truth!" my voice cracked. "I know how stupid it sounds, but I swear, I believe you." I blinked. "What?" "I believe you." He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "Which makes this even more perfect. You stumbled into my world by accident, saw something you shouldn't have, and now you're here, in my home, drinking my whiskey, with no one knowing where you are." The reality of my situation crashed over me like a wave. My sister, she'll look for me. Will she? Dario pulled out his phone, my phone, and showed me the screen. A text sent from my number to Gabriella. "Staying at a friend's tonight. Don't wait up. You can't." "I can. I did." He set the phone down. "Right now, Ravenna, you exist in a space between worlds. Your old life thinks you're safe, but you're here, with me, and I'm trying to decide what to do about that." "What are my options?" The question came out braver than I felt. That smirk returned. "I like your fire. Let's see. Option 1. I let you go. You promised to forget what you saw. Of course, I'd have to trust that you won't go to the police, won't talk to anyone, won't become a liability. And frankly, little flower, I don't trust easily. Option 2, you stay." The word hung in the air like smoke. "Stay?" I repeated. "As what? A prisoner?" "As mine." My heart stopped, started again, stuttered. "I don't understand." "Don't you?" He rose from his chair, moved toward me with that predatory grace. "You walked into my world at the exact moment I was looking for something different. Someone who doesn't know the rules, someone I can mold, shape, someone untouched by this life." He crouched in front of me, bringing us eye to eye. "Someone I can touch first." Heat flooded my body, fear, and something else, something I didn't want to name. "I'm not interested," I managed. "Liar." His hand moved to my knee, just rested there. The touch was light, but it might as well have been a brand. "Your body tells a different story. Your pupils are dilated. Your breathing is shallow. You're terrified, yes, but you're also curious. You're insane. I'm powerful. There's a difference." His hand slid up my thigh. Not far. Just enough to make his point. "Here's what I'm offering, Ravenna. I need someone by my side for public appearances, business dinners, events where having a beautiful, innocent woman on my arm sends a message to my enemies. I'm not an accessory. No, you're an asset, and I protect my assets." His eyes bore into mine. "Your sister. She's struggling, isn't she? Medical bills from your mother's last months. The villa's mortgage is 3 months behind. You work yourself to exhaustion at that bookstore, and it's still not enough." How did he know about Gabi's debts? About everything? "I can make all of that disappear," Dario continued. "One phone call. Your sister's debts, gone. Your financial worries, erased. All you have to do is say yes." "And if I say no?" His hand left my thigh. He stood, moved to the window. "Then you walk out of here tonight, and tomorrow, Gabriella's creditors suddenly get very aggressive. The bookstore where you work, it might face some unexpected difficulties. Your safe, small life, it becomes very complicated. You're threatening me. I'm showing you reality." He turned, backlit by the city lights, looking like a dark angel. "The world is cruel, Ravenna. I'm offering you a shield, protection, luxury, all the things you've never had. All I ask is your presence, your company, your cooperation. For how long? Until I decide otherwise." It was a trap, a gilded cage. But as I thought about Gabi, about the bills piling up, about the exhaustion in her eyes every morning. I need time to think. You have 60 seconds. That's not fair. I never claimed to be fair. 50 seconds. My mind raced. This was crazy, insane. I should run, should scream, should... I thought of Gabby, of everything she'd sacrificed for me, of the fear I saw in her eyes when the creditors called. If I agree, I heard myself say, I want your word you won't hurt my sister. Ever. You have it. And I won't... I couldn't say it. Sleep with me? His smirk was wicked. Not until you beg me to. My face flamed. That will never happen. We'll see. He moved closer, extended his hand. Do we have a deal, Ravenna Fiore? I stared at his hand, strong, scarred, stained with blood I couldn't see but knew was there. This was the moment, the choice, the point of no return. I placed my hand in his. We have a deal. His fingers closed around mine, and I swear I felt the click of the lock. Welcome to my world, little flower, Dario whispered, pulling me to my feet. I promise you, nothing will ever be the same. He was right. God, he was so right. I woke up in a bed softer than clouds and twice as dangerous. For a moment, I forgot where I was. Then it crashed back. The deal, the penthouse, the devil with obsidian eyes who now owned me. I sat up fast, heart pounding. The room was enormous, all grays and blacks, with artwork that looked like violence rendered beautiful. Floor-to-ceiling windows showed Naples waking up below, the morning sun turning the bay into liquid gold. A note sat on the nightstand, written in sharp, elegant script. Clothes in the closet. Breakfast at 8. Don't make me come find you. I checked my phone. 7:47, 13 minutes. The closet was the size of my bedroom back home, and it was full. Designer dresses, casual wear, shoes that cost more than I made in 6 months. Everything in my size. He'd planned this. Known I'd say yes. The arrogance should have made me angry. Instead, it made me shiver. I chose the simplest thing I could find, black pants, a cream silk blouse, and made myself presentable. My reflection in the mirror looked like a stranger, someone who belonged in this world of expensive things and dangerous men. I hated how good I looked. At exactly 8, I found my way to the dining room. Dario sat at the head of a table that could have seated 12, reading something on his tablet. He didn't look up. Sit. I took the chair to his right. A spread of food appeared as if by magic. Pastries, fruit, espresso, things I couldn't name. A woman in a uniform set it down and vanished like smoke. Eat, Dario commanded, still not looking at me. I'm not hungry. You will be. We have a long day. Doing what? Finally, he looked up. God, those eyes. Introducing you to your new life. He stood, buttoned his jacket, charcoal gray, fitted perfectly to his frame, and extended his hand. Come. In the elevator down to the garage, I found my voice. I need to call my sister. She'll be worried. Already handled. I had Marco deliver a message. You're visiting a friend in Rome for a few days. She thinks you finally took her advice to have some fun. You can't just... I can. I did. The doors opened to reveal a garage full of cars that looked like they belonged in a museum. He led me to a sleek black Maserati. Get in. Where are we going? Shopping. I don't need... Yes, you do. He opened my door, waited until I slid in, then closed it with a finality that felt like punctuation. The drive through Naples was surreal. Dario drove like he lived, fast, confident, daring the world to stop him. I gripped the seat, trying not to show my terror. Relax, he said, amusement in his voice. I've never crashed. There's a first time for everything. Not for me. We stopped at a boutique that looked like it catered to royalty. The staff greeted Dario by name, their eyes sliding over me with poorly concealed curiosity. "This is Ravenna," Dario announced, his hand settling possessively on my lower back. "She needs everything. Evening wear, casual, accessories. Price is irrelevant. Understood?" They understood. For the next 2 hours, I was prodded, measured, dressed, and redressed like a doll. Dario sat in a leather chair, sipping espresso, watching everything with those calculating eyes. When I emerged in a black evening gown that hugged every curve I had, his gaze turned molten. "That one," he said, "and the red, and the emerald. This is too much. Nothing is too much for what's mine." He stood, moved toward me. The staff suddenly found reasons to be elsewhere. "You're going to be seen with me, Ravenna, at dinners, galas, meetings. You need to look the part." "The part of what? Your whore?" The word was out before I could stop it. Dario's hand shot out, gripping my chin. Not hard enough to hurt, but firm enough to make his point. "Never call yourself that again. You're not a whore. You're under my protection. There's a difference." "Is there?" "Yes." His thumb brushed my lower lip. "A whore I'd have fucked by now. You? I'm savoring." Heat and rage and something darker flooded through me. I jerked away from his touch. "I'm not some toy. No, you're a weapon." He stepped closer, backing me against the mirror. "And I'm going to teach you how to wield yourself." "I don't understand." "You will." His breath was warm against my ear. "Tonight, you're coming with me to a business dinner. Important people. Dangerous people. All you have to do is sit beside me, look beautiful, and stay quiet. Can you do that?" Pride made me want to refuse. Survival made me nod. "Good girl." He pulled back, and just like that, the spell broke. "We'll take everything. Have it delivered to my address." The rest of the day blurred. A jeweler's, where Dario draped me in diamonds like I was his personal exhibit. A salon, where they did things to my hair and face that made me look like someone else, someone powerful. By the time we returned to the penthouse, I was exhausted. "Rest," Dario ordered. "We leave at 7. I escaped to my room. My room, like I lived here now, and collapsed on the bed. What had I done? Sold myself to a monster for my sister's freedom. Traded my quiet life for this, whatever this was. I should have felt trapped. But as I stared at my reflection in the darkening window, wearing clothes that cost more than months of rent, with my skin still tingling from Dario's touch, part of me felt something else. Alive. For the first time in 7 years of grief and struggle, and just surviving, I felt alive. And that terrified me more than anything else. Drop your thoughts. If Ravenna walked into Dario's world in your place, would you have taken the deal? Or run while you still could? Comment below. I read every single one. The restaurant was the kind of place where they don't list prices because if you have to ask, you don't belong. We arrived in Dario's Maserati, and immediately I felt eyes on us. Valets, doormen, other patrons, all watching as Dario helped me out of the car, his hand claiming my waist like a brand. I wore the emerald dress. It made my eyes look storm dark, my skin luminous. Dario had chosen it himself, his gaze lingering on me in a way that made me feel naked, despite being fully clothed. "Remember," he murmured as we walked in, "you're mine tonight. Act like it." "What does that mean?" "It means when I touch you, you don't flinch. When I speak, you listen. When other men look at you..." His hand tightened on my waist. "You look only at me." Before I could respond, we were escorted to a private room in the back. 3 men sat waiting, all older than Dario, all wearing expensive suits and expressions that had been carved by years of violence. Dario, the one at the head of the table said, rising, silver-haired, sharp-eyed, with a smile that never reached his eyes. You're late. I'm exactly on time, Vincenzo. Dario pulled out my chair before taking his own. Traffic was unavoidable. Vincenzo's gaze slid to me. And who is this lovely creature? Ravenna Fiore, my companion. The way Dario said it left no room for interpretation. I was his. End of discussion. Charming. Vincenzo's smile widened. I didn't know you were in the market for companionship. I wasn't, until I found exactly what I wanted. The tension in the room could have been cut with a knife. The other two men introduced themselves, Carlo and Stefano, both with that same dangerous energy that seemed to leak from every man in this world. I smiled politely, said nothing, tried to remember how to breathe. Dinner was served, some French dish I couldn't pronounce. The conversation flowed around me, business talk disguised as pleasantries, references to shipments and territories and people who'd retired suddenly. I picked at my food, hyper-aware of Dario's presence beside me, his leg pressed against mine under the table. His hand occasionally found my thigh, casual, possessive. So tell me, Dario, Vincenzo said, his eyes on me. Where did you find such an innocent-looking thing? She seems so untouched. The word hit me like a slap. Dario's hand tightened on my thigh. Ravenna is under my protection. I'd hate for anyone to forget that. Of course. Vincenzo raised his wine glass. But you must admit, she's quite the departure from your usual taste. My taste has evolved. Has it? Or have you simply found a new toy? The insult hung in the air. I felt Dario go still beside me, not the stillness of calm, but of a predator about to strike. Careful, old friend, Dario said softly. Your words are starting to offend me. Are they? Vincenzo's smile turned cruel. Forgive me, I'm simply trying to understand why the rule breaker would suddenly parade a girl around like she matters, unless... His eyes gleamed. Unless she's more than she appears. Tell me, Dario, what family is she from? What connections does she bring? None. The words silenced the room. None? Carlo leaned forward. Then what exactly is her purpose? I felt the weight of their stares. Felt like prey on a dinner plate. Dario's hand moved from my thigh to my hand, fingers interlacing with mine on top of the table. The gesture was clear. Mine. Her purpose, Dario said, his voice dropping to something dangerous, is whatever I decide it is, just like everything else in this city. Vincenzo laughed, but it was hollow. Still so arrogant. Your father would be proud. My father is dead. Dario's tone could have frozen hell. And I'm nothing like him, which is why I'm sitting at this table and he's rotting in the ground. The shift in atmosphere was immediate. All three men went rigid. We meant no disrespect, Stefano said quickly, the first time he'd spoken. We're simply curious about the changes in your lifestyle. My lifestyle is my business. Dario stood, pulling me up with him. This dinner is over. Consider our arrangement terminated, Vincenzo. I'll find new partners, ones who remember their place. Wait, Dario, please. Vincenzo rose, panic flickering across his face. I apologize. I overstepped. Please, sit. Let's discuss. There's nothing to discuss. Dario's arm wrapped around my waist. You insulted what's mine. That's unforgivable. He guided me toward the door. As we passed Vincenzo, Dario paused. One more thing, he said quietly. If I hear even a whisper about Ravenna from your lips again, If her name crosses your mind in any context other than respectful distance, I'll cut out your tongue and mail it to your wife. Are we clear? Vincenzo's face went white. Crystal. Excellent. We walked out. The car ride back was silent. Dario's jaw was clenched, his hands tight on the steering wheel. I didn't dare speak. But when we reached the penthouse, when the elevator doors closed and sealed us in that small space, I found my voice. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. He turned to me, and the look in his eyes made my breath catch. No one disrespects you. Ever. I don't care who they are. They were your business partners. And now they're nothing. He stepped closer. You need to understand something, Ravenna. When I say you're mine, I don't mean it lightly. I don't say things I don't mean. You're under my protection. That means anyone who hurts you, insults you, even looks at you wrong, they answer to me. Why? The question burst out of me. Why do you care? I'm just what? His hand cupped my face. You think you're nothing? You think I'd turn my back on decades-old alliances for just anything? I don't understand. Then let me make it clear. He kissed me. Not soft, not gentle. It was claiming, consuming. His mouth on mine like he was branding me from the inside out. I should have pushed him away. Should have remembered this was all business, all manipulation. But my body betrayed me. My hands fisted in his jacket, my mouth open to him, and when he groaned against my lips, the sound vibrated straight through to my core. The elevator dinged. We jerked apart. Dario's eyes were molten. Inside. Now. I obeyed. In the penthouse, he poured himself a drink with shaking hands. I'd never seen him anything but controlled. That shouldn't have happened, he said, not looking at me. No, I agreed. It shouldn't have. But it did. Yes. He finally turned. Go to bed, Ravenna. Before I do something we'll both regret. I fled. But as I lay in bed that night, my lips still burning from his kiss, my body still aching for his touch, I knew the truth. I wasn't trapped in Dario's world anymore. I was drowning in it, and I wasn't sure I wanted to be saved. 3 days passed like a fever dream. Dario was different after the kiss, more distant. He'd leave early, return late, barely speak to me except to issue commands about where to be and when. Part of me was relieved. The other part, the part I hated, ached at his absence. On the 4th day, everything changed. I woke to shouting. Dario's voice, sharp with rage, echoing from somewhere in the penthouse. I pulled on a robe and followed the sound. He was in his office, phone pressed to his ear, pacing like a caged animal. I don't care what it takes, he snarled. Find him. Bring him to me. Alive. A pause. Because I want to kill him myself, Marco. That's why. He slammed the phone down, saw me in the doorway. What are you doing up? You were yelling. What's wrong? Nothing that concerns you. But I could see it in his eyes. Something was very wrong. Dario, I said it doesn't concern you. He moved toward me, and for the first time since I'd met him, I saw something I never expected. Fear. Not of me. For me. Please, I said softly. Tell me. He stared at me for a long moment. Then, as if the words were being dragged out of him, Nico Esposito, a rival. He knows about you. My blood went cold. How? Because I made a mistake. Dario's hands fisted. I took you to that dinner. I showed the world what you mean to me, and now Nico thinks he can use you against me. What does that mean? It means you're in danger. He closed the distance between us. It means I need to send you away, somewhere safe, somewhere he can't reach you. No. This isn't a discussion. I said no. I stood my ground. You brought me into this world. You don't get to just ship me off when it becomes inconvenient. Inconvenient? His laugh was bitter. Ravenna, if Nico gets his hands on you, what he'll do? He couldn't finish the sentence. I won't risk it. Then don't send me away. Protect me here. You said you could. You promised. I can't protect you from this. The admission hung between us. I'm scared too, I whispered. But running won't change anything. If he wants to get to you through me, he'll find a way. At least here, with you. I have a chance. Dario's jaw clenched. You have too much faith in me. Maybe you need someone who does. We stared at each other. The air between us crackled with tension and unspoken things. Then his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his entire demeanor shifted. Stay here. Don't leave this penthouse. Marco's outside your door. If anything happens, you go with him, understand? Where are you going? To end this. He was gone before I could argue. Hours crawled by. I paced the penthouse like a ghost, watching the sun arc across the sky. Marco stood silent vigil outside, a mountain of protective muscle. I tried to eat. Couldn't. Tried to read. The words blurred. All I could think about was Dario. Where he was, what he was doing, if he was safe. When did I start caring if he was safe? The sun was setting when the door burst open. Dario strode in, and my heart stopped. Blood. On his shirt, his hands, spattered across his face. But the way he moved, strong, uninjured, told me it wasn't his. Dario, it's done. His voice was empty, hollow. Nico's dead, his men are scattered, the threat is over. Relief crashed through me. Thank God. Don't. He held up a hand. Don't thank God. Thank the fact that I put a bullet in his skull and watched him bleed out on a warehouse floor. The image should have horrified me, should have sent me running. Instead, I moved toward him. You're hurt, I said, seeing a cut on his cheek I'd missed. It's nothing. Let me clean it. Ravenna, please. Something in my voice made him relent. In his bathroom, all black marble and chrome, I wet a cloth and carefully dabbed at the cut. We were so close I could feel his breath on my face. You shouldn't be this close to me, Dario murmured. Not when I'm like this. Like what? Covered in blood, fresh from murder. I'm a monster, Ravenna. You should be terrified. I am, I admitted, but not of you. His eyes met mine. Then you're a fool. Maybe. I traced the cloth along his jaw, wiping away drops of crimson. Or maybe I see something you don't. And what's that? A man who just killed to keep me safe. I killed to protect my interests. Liar. The word was soft. You were afraid. I saw it this morning. You were afraid for me. His hand shot up, gripping my wrist. Don't confuse protection with affection. Then why are you shaking? He was, barely perceptible, but there. The adrenaline crash, the weight of what he'd done, the fear he'd carried all day. Ravenna. My name was a warning. You need to leave this bathroom. Right now. Why? Because I'm hanging on by a thread, and if you stay, if you keep looking at me like that. Like what? Like you don't hate me for what I am. I set down the cloth, placed my hand on his chest, feeling his heart hammering beneath the blood-stained shirt. I should hate you, I whispered. You blackmailed me, trapped me, turned my life upside down. Yes, but I don't. The thread snapped. Dario pulled me against him with a growl, his mouth crashing onto mine. This kiss was different from the elevator, desperate, raw, like he was trying to consume me whole. I melted into him, tasting blood and danger and something that felt terrifyingly like need. His hands were everywhere, my hair, my waist, sliding down to grip my hips and pull me flush against him. I could feel every hard plane of his body, the evidence of his desire pressing against my stomach. "Tell me to stop," he groaned against my mouth. "For the love of God, Ravenna, tell me to stop." "No." He pulled back just enough to look at me, his eyes wild. "You don't know what you're asking for." "Then show me." Something broke in him. He lifted me like I weighed nothing, carried me to his bedroom, the one I'd never been allowed to enter. All dark wood and darker desires. He set me down on silk sheets hovering over me. "Last chance," he said, his voice rough. "Once we do this, there's no going back. You'll be mine in every way that matters." "I'm already yours," I whispered. "You made sure of that the night we met." "Not like this." His hand traced down my body, leaving fire in its wake. "I've wanted you since I saw you shivering in that alley. I've imagined this, imagined you, every night." "Then stop imagining." He kissed me again, slower this time, savoring. His hands found the tie of my robe, paused. "I've never done this before," I reminded him, and hated how my voice shook. "I know." His smile was soft, genuine, a rare glimpse of the man beneath the monster. "I'll be gentle, at first." The promise in those last two words sent heat flooding through me. He undressed me slowly, worshipfully, like I was something precious. When I lay bare before him, he just stared. "Bellissima," he murmured. "Beautiful and mine." "Yours," I agreed. He shed his blood-stained clothes. And God, he was magnificent. Sculpted muscle, tattoos I'd never seen, scars that told stories of violence survived. He covered my body with his, skin to skin, and the sensation was overwhelming. "If it hurts," he whispered, positioning himself, "tell me. I'll stop." "Don't stop." I pulled him closer. "Don't ever stop." He entered me with aching slowness, watching my face for any sign of pain. There was discomfort, yes, a burning stretch, but beneath it, something else, something that built as he began to move. "Breathe," he coached, his own breath ragged. "Just breathe, little flower." I did, and with each breath, each careful thrust, the discomfort faded into pleasure. "Dario," I gasped. I know. He kissed my neck, my jaw, my lips. "You're perfect, so perfect." He moved faster, deeper, and I met him thrust for thrust. The world narrowed to just us, our bodies, our breath, our mingled moans. When I shattered, it was like dying and being reborn in the same instant. I cried out his name, nails raking down his back. He followed seconds later, my name a prayer on his lips as he collapsed against me. We lay tangled together, hearts racing, skins slicked with sweat. "No going back," Dario finally said, his fingers tracing lazy patterns on my hip. "No," I agreed. "No going back." He pulled me closer, and for the first time since my parents died, I felt safe. It should have terrified me, finding safety in the arms of a killer. But as I drifted off to sleep in Dario's bed, marked by his touch and claimed by his body, I couldn't bring myself to care. I'd stepped into the darkness, and I'd found home. I woke to an empty bed and a note on the pillow. "Had to handle business. Marco will take you to see your sister today. She's been asking about you. Don't tell her the truth. D." My sister. God, I hadn't thought about Gabriella in days. Guilt crashed over me like a wave. Marco drove me to the villa in silence, his scarred face unreadable. When we pulled up, I saw Gabby in the garden, tending her roses like she did every morning. 2 hours, Marco said. "Then we leave." I nodded and stepped out. "Ravenna!" Gabby's face lit up when she saw me. She rushed over, pulling me into a hug that smelled like home and everything I'd lost. Where have you been? You said a few days. It's been nearly a week. I know. I'm sorry. Time got away from me. She pulled back, studying my face with those two knowing eyes. You look different. Different how? I don't know. Older. Like something changed. Her gaze dropped to my neck, and I knew she saw the mark Dario had left there last night. Ravenna, who is he? Who? Don't play games with me. There's a man. I can see it all over you. She grabbed my hand, and I realized too late I was wearing a bracelet I hadn't owned a week ago. Diamonds and emeralds that probably cost more than our villa. What's going on? Gabi, the truth, now. I couldn't tell her. Dario's warning echoed in my mind, but this was my sister, the woman who'd raised me, sacrificed for me, loved me unconditionally. I met someone, I admitted. It's complicated. Complicated how? Ravenna, please. You're scaring me. This isn't like you. Disappearing, wearing jewelry that costs a fortune, looking like you haven't slept. I'm fine, really. He's taking care of me. Taking care of you? Her voice sharpened. What does that mean? What have you done? Before I could answer, her phone rang. She glanced at it and her face went white. What is it? The bank. They say our debts have been paid. All of them. The mortgage, the medical bills, everything. They won't tell me who. She looked at me. Ravenna, what did you do? I made a deal. With who? I couldn't answer. Couldn't find the words. Oh, God. Gabi sank onto the garden bench. Oh, God, Ravenna. Tell me you didn't sell yourself to some rich man. It's not like that. Then what is it like? Explain it to me. Make me understand why my baby sister is wearing diamonds and looking like she's been devoured. Because I was. The words exploded out of me. I was devoured and claimed and marked, and I can't regret it, Gabi. I know I should. I know I should hate him for what he did, for trapping me, but I don't. I don't hate him. Silence. Then quietly. Who is he? Dario Santori. The name hung in the air like a bomb. Gabi's face went from white to gray. No. Tell me you're joking. I'm not. Dario Santori? The Mafia boss? The man they call the rule breaker? Ravenna? Do you have any idea what you've done? I saved us. You were drowning in debt. I was handling it. You were working yourself to death, I shot back. I couldn't watch it anymore. So when he said he could make it all disappear, you sold yourself to the devil. Maybe, but the devil keeps his promises. Gabi stood, pacing, her hands shaking. You have to leave him, right now, today. I'll figure out the money. It's too late for that. It's never too late. Gabi. I grabbed her hands. I'm in love with him. The admission shocked us both. You can't be, she whispered. You've known him a week. I know, it's insane, but when I'm with him, I feel alive. For the first time since Mom and Dad died, I feel like I'm actually living instead of just surviving. He's a killer, Ravenna. I know. He's dangerous. I know. He could destroy you. I know. I met her eyes. But I think I might destroy myself if I leave him. Gabi stared at me like I was a stranger. Maybe I was. I can't support this, she finally said. I can't watch you throw your life away for a man like that. I'm not asking you to support it. I'm just asking you to understand. I don't, and I won't. She pulled her hands free. When this falls apart, and it will, Ravenna, don't come crying to me. The words cut deeper than any knife. Gabi, I think you should go. Please, go, now, before I say something I'll regret. I left. What else could I do? Marco drove me back to the penthouse in silence. I stared out the window, tears streaming down my face. When we arrived, Dario was waiting in the living room. He took one look at me, and his expression darkened. What happened? She knows about us, about everything. And she hates me. She doesn't hate you. He pulled me into his arms. She's afraid for you. There's a difference. Is there? Yes. He tilted my chin up. Do you regret it? This? Us? I should have said yes. Should have taken the out he was offering. Instead, no, I don't regret it. Even knowing what I am? Especially knowing what you are. He kissed me, soft and sweet, like I was something breakable. You're too good for this world, Ravenna Fiore. Then it's a good thing I have you to corrupt me. That night, he showed me just how true that was. And later, as I lay in his arms, marked and claimed and utterly his, he whispered something I almost missed. I love you. 3 words that changed everything. 3 words that sealed my fate. I whispered them back. And somewhere in the darkness, I swear I heard the sound of chains locking into place. Not binding me, binding us. Together. Forever. Question for you. Would you choose love with a dangerous man over safety with an ordinary life? Drop your answer in the comments. Be honest. Love, I discovered, doesn't make the darkness lighter. It just makes you willing to dance in it. 2 weeks after our confessions, Dario took me deeper into his world. Business meetings where I learned to read the violence in men's eyes. Dinners where every smile hid a threat. Nights where he came home covered in blood that wasn't his, and I learned to wash it away without asking questions. I was becoming someone new, someone who could stand beside a monster and call it love. But the past, I learned, never stays buried. It started with a package, delivered to the penthouse, unmarked. Marco brought it to Dario during breakfast, his face grave. Boss, you need to see this. Dario opened it, went completely still. Inside, a photograph, faded, old. A young boy, maybe 8, standing next to a man who looked like an older version of Dario. Both were smiling, but the man's hand gripped the boy's shoulder too tight. Who is that? I asked. My father. Dario's voice was ice. And me, the day before he tried to kill me. The words hit like bullets. What? He set down the photo like it burned. I was 8 years old. He decided I was weak, too soft. So he took me to an abandoned warehouse and beat me within an inch of my life. Said if I couldn't survive him, I couldn't survive this world. Horror crawled up my spine. How did you... I survived. Obviously. His smile was bitter. Marco's father found me, saved me, raised me alongside his own son. When I turned 18, I went back, found my father, and I made sure he could never hurt anyone again. You killed him. I executed him. The distinction was important to him. For what he did to me, to my mother, to everyone he ever touched with his poison. I reached for his hand. Why is someone sending you this now? Because someone wants me to remember, wants me vulnerable. He stood, pacing. This is a message. From who? Before he could answer, his phone rang. He looked at the screen, and something flickered across his face. Fear. What? What is it? He answered, listened, and went white. When? A pause. How many? Another pause. I'm on my way. He hung up, looked at me with eyes that had gone hollow. It's Gabriella. Someone took her. The world tilted. What? Who? When? An hour ago, from the villa. They left a note. His hands were shaking. They want me to meet them, alone, or they'll kill her. Oh God, Gabi, this is my fault. Dario's voice cracked. They took her to get to me. Because of you. Because I made you mine, and now everyone I care about is a target. Then we go get her. We? He shook his head. No, you stay here, with Marco, where it's safe. That's my sister, which is why you're staying here. He gripped my shoulders. I can't protect you both. If something happens to you because I was trying to save her, I don't care. I'm coming with you. Ravenna, she's all I have left. I'm not losing her. Tears streamed down my face. Please, please, Dario, let me come. He stared at me. Then finally, okay, but you do exactly what I say. Understand? Yes, I mean it. This isn't a game. These people, whoever they are, they want me dead, and they'll use you both to make that happen. I understand. He kissed me hard. If anything happens to me, Marco will get you out. Promise me you'll run. Nothing's going to happen. Promise me. I promise. Lie. We both knew it, but he let it stand. The meeting place was an old factory on the outskirts of Naples, abandoned for years, all rusted metal and broken glass. Dario brought 4 men, Marco and 3 others I'd seen around the penthouse, armed, dangerous, loyal. But when we arrived, Dario made them stay back. If this is a trap, he told Marco, get Ravenna out, no matter what. Boss, that's an order. We walked in alone. The factory was a nightmare of shadows and echoes. Our footsteps rang out like gunshots. Dario Santori. The voice came from everywhere and nowhere. The rule breaker himself. You actually came. Where is she? Dario's hand found mine, squeezed. Where's Gabriella? Light flooded a corner of the factory. Gabi was tied to a chair, gagged, terror in her eyes, but alive, unharmed. Gabi! I started forward. Dario held me back. Not yet, he murmured. A figure stepped from the shadows, old, weathered, with eyes that looked like Dario's. Hello, son. Dario went rigid. Impossible. You're dead. I watched you die. You watched me bleed. The man, Dario's father, smiled. But I've always been hard to kill. You should remember that. This isn't real. Oh, it's very real. He moved closer to Gabi, pulled a knife. And now you're going to pay for what you did to me, for taking my empire, my name, my legacy. You have no legacy. Dario's voice was steel. You were a monster. I made sure of that. And yet here I am, risen from the grave, ready to take back what's mine. The knife traced Gabi's cheek. She whimpered behind the gag. Starting with the people you love. Don't touch her. Or what? His father laughed. You'll kill me again? I don't think so. Because this time, if I die, so does she. My men have orders. Any sign of trouble, any hint of betrayal, and your sister-in-law dies screaming. What do you want? Everything you took from me. The business, the territory, the power. He pressed the knife harder. A thin line of blood appeared on Gabi's skin. And your life. But I'm a sporting man. I'll give you a choice. What choice? Your empire, or the women you love. He gestured to Gabi, then to me. Give me back what's mine, and they live. Refuse, and I kill them both, right here, right now. Silence. I could see Dario's mind racing, calculating, looking for the angle. There's no angle, son, his father said, reading him perfectly. No clever trick, no rule to break. This is simple mathematics. What do you value more? Dario's hand tightened on mine. Then he let go. Take it, he said. All of it. The business, the territory, everything. Just let them go. Dario, no, I started. Shut up. He didn't look at me. Couldn't. You have my word. I'll sign over everything. Tonight. Just let them go. His father smiled. You've gone soft. Love has made you weak. Maybe. Do we have a deal or not? We do. His father nodded to someone in the shadows. Release the sister. Rough hands untied Gabi, dragged her forward. She ran to me, sobbing. Now the girl? Dario said. Ah, about that. His father's smile turned cruel. I lied. The gunshot echoed like thunder. Dario dropped. No. My scream tore from my throat. He fell to his knees, blood blooming across his chest. His father stood over him, smoking gun in hand. Did you really think I'd let you live? He laughed. After what you did to me? I've been planning this for years. The business was never the point. Revenge was. Dario coughed blood, looked at me with fading eyes. Run, he whispered. Chaos erupted. Marco and the others burst in, guns blazing. Dario's father's men returned fire. The factory became a war zone. I grabbed Gabi, pulled her down as bullets flew. Through the smoke and screams, I saw Dario crawling toward us, still alive, barely. Ravenna, he reached for me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Don't you dare die on me. I crawled to him, pressed my hands to the wound. Blood poured between my fingers. Too much blood. Stay with me. Please stay with me. Love you, he gasped. Always loved you. From that first night. I love you too. That's why you can't leave me. You can't. His eyes closed. No, Dario! Marco appeared, lifting Dario like he weighed nothing. We need to move. Now! He carried Dario toward the exit. I grabbed Gabi, ran. Behind us, the factory exploded in flames. We made it to the cars. Marco laid Dario in the back, started driving like hell itself was chasing us. Hospital, I begged. Please, we need a hospital. Can't. Too many questions. Marco's jaw was tight. I know someone, a doctor, underground. He'll help. I held Dario's head in my lap, watching his chest barely rise and fall. Don't leave me, I whispered, tears falling on his face. Please don't leave me. I can't do this without you. I need you. Please. His eyes fluttered open, just for a second. Little flower, he breathed. Told you. I'd change the rules. Then nothing. Dario died at 11:47 p.m. For 43 seconds, his heart stopped beating. I know because I counted everyone. The underground doctor, a woman named Sophia, with steady hands and no questions, worked on him for 3 hours. Gabi held me as I fell apart. Marco stood guard, silent, grieving in his own way. When Sophia finally emerged from the makeshift operating room, blood on her scrubs, I couldn't breathe. He's alive, she said. I collapsed. 3 days later, Dario opened his eyes. I was there. I'd been there the whole time, sleeping in a chair beside his bed, holding his hand, willing him to come back to me. Ravenna. His voice was rough, broken. You're real. I'm real. I kissed his knuckles. You scared me. Sorry. He tried to smile, failed. Dying wasn't in the plan. You didn't die. Close enough. He looked around the safe house, a small apartment Sophia had set up for his recovery. Where's... Your father's dead. Marco made sure of it. The factory burned with him inside. Something flickered in Dario's eyes. Relief, grief, closure. Good. Gabi's safe. She's staying here too. We've been talking. And? She doesn't hate you anymore. Hard to hate the man who almost died saving her. Dario closed his eyes. I didn't save her. I walked into a trap. You walked into a trap for me. For us. I climbed onto the bed carefully, mindful of his injuries. You were willing to give up everything. And it wasn't enough. It was enough. I cupped his face. You loved me enough to sacrifice your empire, your power, everything you'd built. That's everything, Dario. I lost you for 43 seconds. So he'd felt that too, the emptiness, the void. But I came back. Not good enough. His hand found my waist, gentle despite his weakness. I need to be stronger, smarter, no more mistakes. There will always be enemies. Then I'll kill them all. His eyes opened, and the fire in them stole my breath. Anyone who threatens you, anyone who even thinks about hurting what's mine, I'll burn this whole city to the ground before I let someone take you from me again. The vow should have scared me. Instead, it felt like coming home. Then I guess we're both damned, I whispered. We were damned from the start, little flower. He kissed me, soft, tender, like I might break. I kissed him back harder. I'm not fragile. I know. You held my heart in your hands while I died. Nothing fragile about that. Over the next week, Dario healed. Slowly, painfully, but he healed. And while he did, he rebuilt. Marco brought in loyalists, men who'd been waiting for a chance to strike back against Dario's father's old network. Together, they dismantled what remained of the ghost's empire. Gabby and I grew closer. She saw how Dario looked at me, how he touched me like I was precious even when he was weak, how he'd wake from nightmares screaming my name. You really love him, she said one night. Yes. And he loves you. Yes. Then I guess I have to accept it. She hugged me. Just be careful. This world, it's not kind to people like us. I know. But you're staying anyway. I'm staying. On the 7th day, Dario could walk. On the 8th, he could plan. On the 9th, he could kill again. The 10th day, he took me to a private room and locked the door. I have something for you. He pulled out a box. Small. Velvet. My heart stopped. Dario, I know it's fast. I know this is insane. But I died, Ravenna. I died and came back. And in those 43 seconds, all I could think was that I'd never made you mine. Not officially. He opened the box. A ring. Black diamond. Beautiful and dark and perfect. Marry me, he said. Not because it makes sense. Not because it's practical. Marry me because I love you and I'm selfish and I need the whole world to know you belong to me. I should have said it was too soon. Should have said we barely knew each other. Should have been rational. Yes. He slipped the ring on my finger. Then he kissed me like a dying man given life. Mine, he murmured against my lips. Yours, I agreed. He made love to me then, gentle despite the hunger in his eyes, careful of his still healing wound, but desperate to claim me. Afterwards, tangled together, he told me the truth. When my father beat me as a child, he told me I'd never be strong enough for this life, that I was weak, broken. His fingers traced patterns on my skin. I've spent every day since trying to prove him wrong, building an empire, becoming ruthless, never showing weakness. You're not weak. I am. For you. He tilted my chin up. You're my weakness, Ravenna. My only one. And instead of running from that, I'm claiming it. Because loving you makes me more dangerous than I've ever been. How? Because now I have something worth killing for. Worth dying for. His smile was dark. My father thought love made me weak, but he was wrong. Love made me a monster. Then we're both monsters. Yes. He kissed me again. But we're monsters together. That night, he told me his plans, how he'd rebuild bigger, stronger, how he'd make sure no one ever threatened us again. And I helped him plan, because I wasn't the girl from the alley anymore. I was Dario Centauri's queen, and queens don't just stand beside their kings, they help them conquer. The wedding happened on a cliff overlooking the Mediterranean, small, intimate. Just Marco, Gabby, Sophia, and a handful of Dario's most trusted men. I wore white, Dario wore black. The symbolism wasn't lost on anyone. I never thought I'd see this, Marco said as he stood beside Dario, serving as best man. You, settling down. I'm not settling down. Dario's eyes never left me as I walked toward him. I'm claiming what's mine. The ceremony was short. Dario wrote his own vows. Ravenna Fiore, he said, holding my hands. I should tell you, I'll protect you, cherish you, love you until my dying breath. But you already know that. So instead, I'll tell you the truth. I'm a monster, a killer, a man with blood on his hands and darkness in his soul. I'll never be good, never be gentle, but I will be yours, completely, eternally. And anyone who tries to take you from me will learn exactly how monstrous I can be. The priest looked uncomfortable. Gabi looked concerned. I smiled. Dario Santori, I said, I should tell you I'll be a good wife, obedient, quiet, but we both know that's a lie. So instead, I'll tell you this. I see your darkness, and I'm not afraid. I see your monsters, and I'll help you feed them. I'll stand beside you through blood and fire, and I'll love you until the world ends, which, knowing us, might be sooner than later. Dario's laugh echoed across the cliff. I now pronounce you husband and wife, the priest said quickly, like he wanted to escape. You may. Dario kissed me before he could finish. Deep, possessive, claiming. When we broke apart, I was his wife, and he was mine. The reception was at Dario's penthouse. He'd insisted on returning to the city, reclaiming his territory. We're done hiding, he told me. Let them all see. Let them know. So we walked into the penthouse like we owned the world, because we did. Enemies had been eliminated, territories consolidated. Dario's empire was stronger than ever, and I stood at its heart. During the reception, Gabi pulled me aside. Are you happy? She asked. Yes. Truly? Truly. I looked at Dario across the room. He was talking to Marco, but his eyes kept finding mine. I know it's not normal. I know most people wouldn't understand. But he's everything to me. Then I'm happy for you. She hugged me tight. Just promise me you won't lose yourself in his world. I won't lose myself. I pulled back, smiled. I'll just become something new. As midnight approached, Dario whisked me away to our bedroom. Finally, he growled, backing me against the door. I've been waiting all day to get you alone. We're married now. You'll have me alone every day for the rest of your life. Not enough. He kissed my neck. I want every second, every breath, every heartbeat. Greedy. Starving. He undressed me slowly, reverently, like he was unwrapping a gift. You're mine now, he murmured against my skin. Legally, completely, forever. I was already yours. Now the world knows it. He carried me to bed, made love to me like he was branding his name on my soul. And maybe he was. Afterwards, as we lay tangled together, he told me his final secret. I saw something, he said, when I died, for those 43 seconds. What did you see? You, and a little girl. She had your eyes and my smile. We were in a garden. You were laughing. He touched my face. I want that. With you. A life beyond the blood and violence. Is that even possible? For people like us? I'll make it possible. His hand slid to my stomach. I'll burn down everyone who stands in our way. Build something new from the ashes. For you. For our future. You're talking about children. I'm talking about everything. A life, a legacy, something that matters beyond territories and power. I kissed him. Then let's build it. Together. 6 months later, I stood in a hospital room holding a pregnancy test. Positive. Dario was in a meeting. I called Marco. I need you to bring him here. Now. It's important. Boss is with the Calabrese family. I don't care if he's with the Pope. Bring him. Now. 20 minutes later, Dario burst into the room, panic in his eyes. What's wrong? Are you hurt? Did something... I held up the test. His eyes went wide. We're pregnant, I whispered. Silence. Then he laughed, pure, joyful, free. We're having a baby. He picked me up, spun me around. We're having a baby. Are you happy? 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 He set me down, cupped my face with trembling hands. Ravenna, I'm terrified. I'm overwhelmed, and I'm happier than I've ever been in my entire goddamn life. Tears streamed down my face. I thought you might... I didn't know if you were ready. I've been ready since the moment you said I do. He dropped to his knees, pressed his forehead against my stomach. Hello, little one. Your father is a monster, but for you, I'll be a hero, I promise. I ran my fingers through his hair, this dangerous man brought to his knees by the promise of new life. What if they come after our child? I whispered the fear that had been haunting me since I saw those 2 lines. What if your enemies... Then I'll kill them all. He looked up, and the love in his eyes was matched only by the promise of violence. Every single one. I'll make this world safe for you and our baby, if I have to paint the streets red to do it. Dario, I mean it. He stood, pulled me close. No more half measures, no more playing by rules I didn't write. Our child will grow up safe, loved, free from the ghosts that haunted me. How? By ending every threat before it begins. His smile was dark. Starting tonight. He wasn't lying. Over the next 3 months, Dario systematically dismantled every rival family, not through war, through strategy, buying out territories, offering deals too good to refuse. And for those who refused, they disappeared. I should have been horrified, should have stopped him. Instead, I helped. I sat in on meetings, my hand resting on my growing belly, and watched men twice my age flinch when I smiled. I learned the language of power, of fear, of controlled violence. Gabby was appalled. You're pregnant. You should be resting, not what? Not protecting my family? I met her eyes. This is my world now, Gabby. I'm not some helpless victim. I'm Dario's wife, the mother of his child, and I'll do whatever it takes to keep us safe. Even if it means becoming like him. Especially if it means becoming like him. She didn't understand. How could she? She'd never tasted real power, never felt the rush of watching enemies bow before you, never loved someone enough to become a monster for them. The baby came on a stormy October night. Dario refused to leave my side through 23 hours of labor. He held my hand, whispered encouragement, looked at me like I was performing miracles. When our daughter finally entered the world, screaming her fury at existence, Dario cried. She's perfect, he breathed, as the nurse placed her in his arms. Look at her, Ravenna. She's absolutely perfect. I'd never seen him so gentle. This man who'd killed without hesitation held our daughter like she was made of starlight. What should we name her? I asked. He looked at me, then at our daughter, then at the storm raging outside. Luna, he said, for the moon that guided me to you that first night. Luna Centauri. Luna. I tested the name. It fit. Hello, Luna. Welcome to our beautiful, terrible world. She wrapped her tiny hand around Dario's finger, and I watched my husband, the rule breaker, the monster, the king of Naples' underworld, completely surrender. I'll give you everything, he promised her. The world, the stars, anything you want. Maybe start with college fund, I teased, exhausted but happy. College fund, empire, same thing. He kissed Luna's forehead, then mine. Thank you. For this. For her. for choosing me despite everything. I'd choose you 1,000 times over. Even knowing what I am, especially knowing what you are." He smiled. "Then we really are damned." Happily. Luna's christening was the event of the year. Every family in Naples attended. Some came to pay respects, others to assess whether Dario had been weakened by fatherhood. They got their answer when Dario gave his speech. "My daughter," he said, holding Luna while I stood beside him, "represents something new, a future built not on the mistakes of the past, but on the strength of family, of love, of unwavering loyalty." His eyes scanned the crowd. "And anyone who threatens her, who even thinks about using her as leverage, will discover that becoming a father hasn't made me soft. It's made me absolutely ruthless." The message was clear. Touch his family, and you wouldn't just die. You'd suffer. That night, after the guests had left and Luna was asleep in her nursery, Dario found me on the balcony overlooking Naples. "Thinking about something?" he asked, wrapping his arms around me from behind. "About that first night, in the alley behind your club." I leaned into him. If someone had told me then that this is where I'd end up, I never would have believed them. Regrets? None. I turned in his arms. "You changed every rule for me, Dario Centauri. You showed me a world I never knew existed. You made me stronger, bolder, fiercer. You did that yourself. I just gave you permission." "No, you gave me power." I kissed him. "And I'm never giving it back." "Good." His hands slid down to my waist. "Because I need you beside me, not behind me, beside me, as my equal, my queen, my everything." "Your everything?" "My everything," he confirmed. "You walked into my world innocent and untouched, and now look at you, feared, respected, powerful. Is that what you wanted when you first saw me?" "No." He brushed hair from my face. "I wanted to possess you, own you, break you, and remake you in my image. And now I realize you were never meant to be broken." His smile was soft. "You were meant to break me. And you did, little flower. You shattered every wall I'd built, destroyed every rule I'd lived by, and gave me something I never thought I'd have." "What's that?" "A reason to live beyond revenge and power." He glanced back at the nursery. "A family, a future, hope." Tears pricked my eyes. "You're going soft on me." "Never." But his kiss was gentle. "I'm just learning that some rules are meant to be changed, and you changed all of mine." 5 years later, Luna ran through the garden, her dark hair flying, laughing as Marco pretended to chase her. "Uncle Marco, you're too slow." "I'm getting old, Piccola," Marco called back, grinning. I watched from the terrace, one hand on my swollen belly. Our second child, a boy this time, would arrive in a month. Dario emerged from his office, saw me, and smiled. "How are my 3 favorite people?" He kissed me, then knelt to kiss my stomach. "You causing trouble in there, Figlio?" The baby kicked in response. "He's definitely your son," I laughed. "Good. Luna needs a brother to protect her." "Luna doesn't need protection. We've been training her since she could walk." "True. Our daughter could already identify threats, read body language, and charm information out of adults twice her age. She was her father's daughter in every way." "Still," Dario stood, wrapped his arms around me. "I want them to have what I didn't, each other. A real family." "They will." I leaned against him. "We've made sure of that." Naples had changed under Dario's rule. Less violent, more strategic. He'd transitioned much of the business to legitimate enterprises, keeping only the most profitable underground operations. He'd kept his promise, built a world where our children could grow up safe. Mama, Papa! Luna ran up, breathless. Uncle Marco says I can learn to shoot next year. Can I? Please? Dario and I exchanged looks. We'll discuss it, Dario said. That means yes. Luna hugged us both, then ran off again. She's too much like you, I said. She's perfect. Dario's hand found mine. They both will be. Are you happy? I asked. Truly? I know you gave up a lot. The power, the fear, the control. I gave up nothing. He turned me to face him. I gained everything. A wife who challenges me, children who give me purpose, a life worth living instead of just surviving. Even when I argue with you in meetings? Especially then. He smirked. Watching you eviscerate a rival family's proposal while 7 months pregnant was the sexiest thing I've ever seen. I laughed. You're insane. I'm in love. There's a difference. Is there? With you? No. He kissed me deeply. With you, love and madness are the same thing, and I wouldn't have it any other way. That night, after Luna was asleep and the house was quiet, Dario and I stood in the nursery we'd prepared for our son. What should we name him? I asked. Dario thought for a moment. Marco. After the man who saved my life and has protected our family ever since. Marco Centauri. I tested it. I like it. He'll hate it. Too much pressure. Then he'll rise to it, just like his father did. Dario pulled me close, and we stood there in the darkness, surrounded by the soft glow of nightlights shaped like stars. I love you, he whispered. More than power, more than empire, more than my own life. I know. I kissed him. You prove it every day. Do I? You changed the rules for me, remember? You gave up everything you thought mattered and found out what actually does. What's that? This. I gestured to the nursery, to our home, to the life we'd built. Family, love, a future built on something other than fear. You make me sound noble. You're not noble. I smiled. You're still a monster, still dangerous, still the man who'd burn the world to keep us safe. Damn right I would. But you're our monster, and that makes all the difference. He kissed me again, deeper this time. Come to bed, Mrs. Centauri, before I decide to have my way with you right here. You're insatiable. Only for you. We left the nursery hand in hand. Behind us, the stars on the ceiling glowed softly, casting light on the empty crib that would soon hold our son, our family, our future, our everything, built on blood and darkness, and a love that had survived every test. I'd walked into Dario's world 7 years ago, shivering and innocent and terrified. Now I ruled beside him, feared, respected, powerful, and I'd never been happier. 10 years later, I stood at the window of our villa, not the penthouse anymore, but a sprawling estate on the coast where our children could run free and watch the sunset paint the Mediterranean gold. Luna was 16 now. Beautiful, brilliant, already being courted by boys who didn't realize she could kill them 6 different ways. Dario had forbidden dating until she was 30. She'd negotiated it down to 18. Marco Jr., we called him Mark, was 9. Sharp as his father, but with a gentle soul that reminded me of Gabi. He wanted to be a doctor. Dario was torn between pride and disappointment. Our youngest, Sophia, named after the doctor who'd saved Dario's life, was 5. Wild. Fearless. Her father's favorite, though he'd never admit it. You're thinking too loud, Dario said, appearing behind me. Older now, touches of silver in his hair, but still dangerously beautiful. Just remembering. Remembering what? Everything. The alley, the deal, that first kiss. I turned in his arms. How far we've come. How far you've come. He kissed my forehead. I was already a monster. You became a queen. We became partners. The deadliest partnership Naples has ever seen. His smile was proud. Even the families in Rome fear the Santoris now. Good. My bloodthirsty wife. He nipped at my neck. Still as fierce as the day I met you. You wouldn't love me any other way? True. Luna's voice echoed from downstairs. Mama, Papa, Mark won't let me practice my knife throwing in the house. Because you almost hit me last time, Mark yelled back. I missed on purpose. Children, I called down. Outside, both of you, now. They grumbled, but obeyed. Sophia appeared in the doorway, holding her stuffed bear. Mama? Papa? Can we have the story? Which story, Principessa? Dario asked, scooping her up. The story about how you met, when Mama said she'd never been touched and you smiled and changed all the rules. I laughed. You love that story. It's romantic, Sophia insisted. Like a fairy tale, but with more blood. That's one way to describe it, Dario said, carrying her to the bed. I joined them, curling up against my husband while our youngest daughter snuggled between us. Once upon a time, I began, there was a girl who didn't know she was brave, and a man who didn't know he could love. And they found each other in an alley, Sophia added. They did. And the man looked at the girl and knew immediately that she would change everything. Did you know, Papa, Sophia asked, that Mama would change everything? Dario looked at me, and even after all these years, the heat in his gaze made my heart race. I knew, he said softly, that she was different, special, mine, and I decided right then that I'd break every rule to keep her. And did you? Every single one. He kissed my hand, the one still wearing the black diamond ring, and I've never regretted it for a second. Even when she argues with you? Sophia giggled, especially when she argues with me. I smiled, resting my head on his shoulder. And they lived happily ever after. No, Dario corrected. They lived dangerously ever after, which for people like us is even better. Sophia fell asleep between us, dreaming of alleyways and changed rules and love that conquered darkness. Dario and I stayed there, holding our daughter, holding each other. Thank you, he whispered. For what? For walking into that alley, for taking my deal, for loving a monster. Thank you, I whispered back, for seeing me, for choosing me, for changing all the rules. I'd do it again. So would I. We fell asleep like that. The monster and his queen, the rule breaker and the woman who'd broken him in return. Outside, Naples glittered under the stars. Our city, our empire, our legacy, built on blood and fire and a love that had survived everything. Because 7 years ago, I'd said 4 words that changed my life forever. I've never been touched. And Dario had smiled and whispered, then let me be the first, the last, the only. He'd kept that promise, and I'd kept mine, to stand beside him, to love him, to rule with him, forever, in darkness and in light, till death do us part, and maybe not even then. The end. Thank you for diving into the darkness with Ravenna and Dario. Their story, from a rain-soaked alley to an empire built on blood and love, is proof that sometimes the most dangerous rules are the ones we break for love. If this story gripped you, left you breathless, made you believe in dark romance all over again, hit that like button. Subscribe for more stories where love isn't gentle, it's gasoline on fire. And drop a comment. What was your favorite moment? The first kiss in the elevator? The moment Dario took a bullet? The family they built from ashes? Your engagement keeps these stories alive. Share this with someone who loves dark romance, mafia kings and queens who don't need saving. they need crowns. Until next time, stay dangerous, stay in love. And remember, the best stories are written in the space between darkness and desire. Subscribe, like, comment, and I'll see you in the next forbidden tale.